Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to start. And in case you don't know, my name is Jan Gervich, and I'm president of AMAT USA. I'd like to welcome you all. I'd like to welcome you all to our second international Zoom call with our AMAT sisters in Israel. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond our control, yes, the pandemic, you've heard about the pandemic, we were not able to host Hagit and Shirli Shavit, Hagit Pierre and Shirli Shavit on their three-city tour, which was to include Philadelphia, Chicago, and LA. In its place, thanks to technology, we were able to Zoom Hagit and Shirli to your computers, iPads, and phones. We look forward to seeing them and hearing them tell us about how AMAT Israel has been meeting the challenges of the pandemic and what life is like as restrictions are carefully being lifted. I want to thank you for participating today and more importantly for your ongoing support of AMAT. I wish you all a peaceful, healthy, and meaningful summer. It is now my pleasure to introduce our National Director, Deanna Migdal, who will moderate our call today. Thank you.
Hello and welcome everyone. It's always nice to see so many people getting together in our new world of Zoom. As we did last time, I've muted everybody at this point, but there will be time later to ask some questions. You can feel free at any time to write questions into the Zoom chat box and we'll try to answer them a little bit later. We're honored once again to have Shirli Shavit with us. She's always a wealth of information and a breath of fresh air. We're also pleased to welcome Hagit Pierre, President of AMAT Israel. Thank you for joining us today. As we know, it's 8 o'clock at your time across the globe. Hagit, it's so nice to see you again. I can't believe it's been more than 6 months since we met in Israel. So much has changed since then. But before we hear about the changes, I'd like to ask you a few questions about yourself so AMAT USA can hear a little bit about you. But first, I want to find your, I want to unmute you. Let's see. Can you unmute? Where's the rest?
Unmute
Sorry.
myself.
So there you are. Unmute yourself. Beautiful. Thank you.
Great. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's so exciting to see you. See that you are all, I hope all of you are well and safe with your families. It's so nice to see you again. As Diana said, as Jane said, so many things happened since we met 6 months ago, most of us. And I would really like to thank you and talk with you about all the changes in situation that we are handling right now in Israel, as you are also dealing with the COVID and the violence in the USA. I hope all of you are well and taking care of yourself and your families and staying at home. So about the, Shirley, are you also unmuted? Okay, I can, just a minute, I will try to see you. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, here. Yeah. Okay.
So Hagit, before
Sure.
you start with that, Hagit, can I just ask you a few questions? I know a lot of people in AMAT USA don't know you and have never met you. And
oh, okay.
So this is a treat for us. It's a pleasure. So we just wanted to ask you a few things. What were the most compelling reasons you chose for a career at AMAT?
Wow, what a great question. Thank you. So many reasons. So I'm so glad to meet you. My name is Hagit Pierre, and I'm a mother of 15,302 children. 2 children are my own, my biologic girl and a boy. My daughter is 22 years old. My son is 17 years old. And I came to AMAT about 8 years ago. I've been the chairperson of AMAT Negev in the South for 7 years. And I really appreciate AMAT. I see my work as I love people. I love to be connect with people. I love to do good things in my life for other people and for our community. And that's what I did in Naamat Negev. And when I had the chance to elect to be the chairperson of Naamat International and Naamat Israel, it was like a mission for me. All my education, all my values came together to this position. And I'm so proud and I'm so dedicated to my work.
That's great. How do you mentor young women to become leaders in Naamat?
Of course, that's why I do what I do every day, almost every day. It's so important to be a model. When you talk to young women, and I always see my daughter as an example. You can talk about it, but you can walk it. If you want someone to do something, you have to be an example. You have to lead him and give him all the reasons to dream and to be whatever she likes to. And that's the main thing in Naamat. We're doing it all over the country, from the south to the north. We always think about how to promote women, how to promote young women, how to promote the Arabian women, also in the Arabian cities in Israel, because we live together. We have to do things together. And if our society is safe and people are satisfied with themselves and their families, they can do everything.
Yes, I agree. Thank you for sharing that with us. One question before we delve into the update that we're all here for. Someone had asked a question, what is Naamat's relationship to Histadrut in Israel?
Oh, okay. We have a great relationship. We have a new chairperson in the Histadrut. He's been elected, Arnon Bar David. He's been elected 2 months before I've been elected. We have a very good relationship, and it's very important because the Histadrut have a lot of power in the government, and we also have a power in the government. When we go together, we can achieve a lot of targets, a lot of our targets. I'm sorry for my English. I didn't practice my English for a long, long time. So it's so good to talk with you.
It's very well. So don't worry.
Don't worry.
I'm sure your Hebrew is much better than my English. I hope so.
No.
So if something is not clear, so please ask again, and I will try again. So it's very important, the power for the government, because all the laws, everything is in the government. And we are doing a lot of things in the Naamat that are connected to our government, like the daycare centers. We get a budget from the government. It's not enough for us. Now we have a struggle, a new, איך אומרים מאבק, שירלי?
A struggle, Kim.
We have a new struggle, yeah, for the daycare centers. So we need the Histadrut with us, and it's I'm so happy for that we are doing very, very well between us.
Great. So now to some of the updates. You know, in the United States, there's at least 19 states that have seen a rise in COVID cases since restrictions have lifted.
Diana,
Yeah.
I want to just add something to what Hagit said about the Histadrut, because many of your women ask.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So all women of the Histadrut, which are, Hagit, how many now? 350,000?
400,000.
400,000 are automatically members of Naamat. Okay, all women working in organized places with collective agreements are automatically members of Naamat. And what Hagit said, that this gives us a real strength, real power, you know, with the government and in Israel altogether, it's something very significant. Therefore, it's considered the biggest international movement all over the world. I mean, there is not anywhere in the world such a big women's movement. So I just wanted to add that.
Great. Well, happy to be a part of it. So let's talk first about the high schools. I know that the high schools in Israel have resumed in-person classes. And then I've also heard that some of the high schools have already shut down because of the spike in COVID cases. So please tell us what's going on at our AMAT high schools.
אוקיי, טוב, שירלי, פה אני אצטרך את עזרתך. שירלי?
כן, כן, אני פה, את רוצה, אולי נציע לה שנתחיל עם המעונות, נעבור לזה, נעשה את זה מסודר.
כן, נעשה את זה. Yeah, Diana, I would really like to start with the daycare centers.
Okay, feel free.
Okay?
Sure.
We're the biggest women organization in Israel that are taking care of infants in our daycare centers. We have like 197 daycare centers from the north to the south, very professional ones. We are very known as giving the best education in our AMAT daycare centers. In these days, when we all had to shut down all the daycare centers, all of AMAT was shut down, and we were all at home for almost 2 months, stayed at home, and all the children, of course, stayed at home. And on May, we get back all the children, but because of there is a lot of families that didn't get back to work. They lost their salaries. So they didn't, we have a lack of children coming back to our daycare centers. We have a lack of 1,130 children that didn't come back. So we lost a lot, and you know, we took back all of our employees back to the daycare center. So we are very short in, we have a big problem with our budget because we have to pay everything. We open the daycare center, we have a manager, we have a staff, we have food, we have everything in the daycare centers, but we don't have enough children. So this is a very big problem, and it will go until the end of the year because the daycare centers are closing down only on August. So
you don't
we have a big problem.
You don't have enough children because the parents are unemployed and they can't afford?
Yes, they cannot afford, yes.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yes.
There is 1.2 million unemployment. In Israel, it's already it's like 20%. 1.2 million are unemployed, and some of them are parents in our daycare centers, which their children used to come to the centers, but because of the corona, they're unemployed. They're not back in work, and they can't send their children back right now.
So you have centers that want to be open, you have your caregivers and you have everything in place, there just aren't enough children.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
that's a big problem. The government say that they will give us some grant, but they didn't decide it yet what kind of grant, if we will get a grant. So right now we are in a big problem. We're in a big budget problem.
And the classes that are in session, are there restrictions in the class sizes, and are there less children, and more social distancing and more hand washing and you know, things like that?
Yes, of course. Right now, all the children can get back to the daycare centers, but we have to take care of course, hygienic, situation to really wash their hands and it's very little children, so we have to touch them, we have to hug them, we have to take care of them. So it's physically, we can't be far from them.
Are you allowed to hug them? I was wondering about that. Because when we were there, I saw the caregivers holding the children, hugging them. Can you do something?
We have to take care of them. It's little infants. We can't take care of them from afar, from distance, from far.
Diana, but I want to clear something about that because I got some emails regarding this question. Because when I sent to you the AMAT news with the Shavuot, slides and photos and videos, I got some emails asking how come the caregivers are near the children. So I was explained by my colleagues that when they come in the morning, then they have to have a mask, the parents have to have a mask, and also the caregivers. But once the children go into the center, to the classrooms, the parents are not allowed to go into the classrooms. But like Hagit said, we can, when this is according to the regulations of the Ministry of Health, the caregivers have to, take care of the children and give them love and treat them, and not with a mask and not in a social distance. But this is all according to the regulations. When they are outside in the playgrounds, then they keep more of a distance, not like inside the classrooms. We do in smaller groups, we try, but we do take care of our caregivers not to be all together. This is especially, and like Hagit said, we have all the hygienic things and the alcohol gel, and we clean everything extra clean. One of our daycare centers, by the way, was closed in Tel Aviv because one of the caregivers was found with the virus. So 2 weeks it has to be closed, and the children could not come, and then now it's back opening and working again.
Did they test all those, everybody that was in the classroom and in that school? Because that's part of the tracing, all those people would have been exposed.
They check the
Only the
caregivers.
staff. Only this, yeah.
The staff?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the children's.
Right. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the daycare centers? Anything else you wanted to discuss or tell us?
I want to say something about the renovations in the summer.
Yes.
Right.
You know that every summer, like I wrote you an email today, I don't know if you saw it, every summer we do renovations in our daycare centers. This year we're doing the minimum because exactly like Hagit said, our budget is very limited. And we're doing really minimum renovations, just what we have to, really very strict, because otherwise there are daycare centers that we get, it's all regulated and supervised. And if we don't do the minimum renovation according to the regulations, first of all, it's safety features. And also we will not be able to open the daycare center in September if we don't do the minimum that is needed. So we are doing, and we really appreciate all the help that I know you are all trying and all your efforts. It's just, this is the opportunity to thank you all for all your efforts in trying to help us with this special project every year, all through the years with the renovations of the daycare centers. This is very important to keep and maintain our daycare centers for the well-being.
We also have as Shirley said, we also have a competition with other daycare centers. איך אומרים רשויות, שירלי?
Municipalities, of the municipalities.
Yes,
a lot of competitions. Also with other women organizations, municipalities. It's very, very hard. It's not so easy, and we need as many children as possible to really develop our network and keep it and maintain.
Yeah, and we still don't know if in September all the children will get back. We still don't know.
Right. Are you closed June 30th? Is that the end of the school year for the daycare centers as well? No?
August 9.
No, it's only for 3 weeks it's closed. Only 3 weeks.
Yes.
It's not like the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough times.
Yeah.
Yeah, really tough.
Hagit, maybe we will continue now if you allow us, Diana, with the Glickman Center, and then we will get to the schools and the legal services. Is
Sure.
that okay?
That's fine.
So what I would suggest is that before Hagit will present the new campaign that AMAT just launched, which is really great. It's all over. It's on television, radio. The Histadrut is helping us to budget because it's a lot of money, and AMAT does not have this kind of money. So this is really, like you asked before, this is the
cooperation, yes.
Cooperation, exactly. So let's show it. Diana has it with the English subtitles. It's all regarding domestic violence, and one of the really main challenges, and Hagit will talk about in a few minutes, really very, very terrible and scary phenomena that is happening much more even these days.
Okay.
שנים אני חיה ככה, בלחישות. תמיד הלכתי בין הטיפות, אבל לא משנה כמה ניסיתי. בסוף חטפתי. עד שפניתי לקו החם של נעמת, גיליתי שאני לא לבד, ושיש במי להיעזר. מאז אני מרגישה חזקה יותר, חייגי כוכבית 9201, לקו החם של נעמת. ההסתדרות, הבית של העובדות והעובדים בישראל.
Okay, so this is a very important campaign. We saw in Israel, I don't know how it's going in United States, but I was very, very worried from the isolation that all the families are getting in the same house, and the violence is getting more and more problem in a lot of houses, a lot of places. So I was sure that we will have a lot of אומרים עלייה בפניות, Shirli?
A rise in the number of women turning to us.
So that's why we did the
Big
campaign,
increase.
because increasing the women that they need our help. So that's why we did the campaign, and that's why we had the hotline that women and men can get professional help. So that's why, and we see an 120% increase of calls to our hotlines.
Wow. Where is the advertising going? Where is the campaign, being shown?
In TV, in radio, in prime time, before the news, so everyone can see. It's also, we have subtitles of Arabic and Russian, so people can understand and call us.
I can add, Diana, many of you have visited the Glickman Center for the treatment and prevention of domestic violence in Tel Aviv. So actually the hotline that Hagit is talking about we have professionals, our social workers who answer the telephone calls. Many of the women or men get, the answers by the phone. They get really a professional advice on the phone, but there are quite many at these days that are making appointments in the Glickman Center. And as I told you in our last meeting, if you remember, this Glickman Center actually is now turning into the home of Na'amat for the family, which treats, of course, women, families, but also men, because we believe that if we treat the men, the battered men, then this will benefit all the family. And this is something unique, very unique, that Na'amat will now even increase this idea. And we hope that, women and men, families from all over the country will come and need use our services. Because, since this pandemic began, like Hagit said, it's unbelievable. Almost every week, another woman is murdered. There was a big demonstration that I sent you photos and a video as well, just 2 weeks ago, something like that, in Tel Aviv. And it's really, really a horrible phenomena. And I want to tell you, I can't send everything to you, but Hagit is all over the media now regarding the violence in the family, on television, on radio, really so much, visibility that Hagit is now on this regarding the campaign and regarding the phenomena. So we really hope that we'll be able, to overcome and at least help as many women as we can.
Have there been more women and families trying to go to the Glickman Center and trying to stay there during this?
In the shelter? Are you meaning the shelter?
The shelter, yes.
Full. The shelter is full. Completely.
It's full, and 2 women joined the shelter through the corona, the COVID period. 2 of them ran out of their houses with their children and came to our shelter. Knock on the door and get to the shelter.
Wow.
Very good. And we have, by the way, now we have also special activities for the children during this time, because they are much more in stress, and also they're women, much more in tension. It's not normal times. Even in the shelter, It's we get much extra activities that we have to do with the women and the children, you know, to cope with the situation.
Yes. Are there statistics with domestic violence between the Jewish sectors and the Arab sectors? Is it fairly equal, or are there more cases?
I think it's the problem is that violence is like a flu. You know, everyone can get it, and especially through these times, we don't see a difference.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah,
we don't see a difference.
it's just prevalent, and during this time,
A lot
in
of
all countries.
Ethiopian, yeah, a lot of Ethiopian women are suffering, especially from violence because of their culture. But I'm really sorry to say that everyone can get it, and
Yes.
we can take care of it. We can give a professional advices, and it's a lot of education, you know, what we are doing in our schools, in our high schools, to get the children understand what is איך אומרים יחסים זוגיים, שירלי?
What is really a healthy relationship? What is really a healthy relationship? We try to explain and teach them and educate.
I know that we've had that domestic violence prevention program in the high schools and for women the last couple few years that, you know, we've been supporting. Is that still going on Zoom, or will it be?
No, this is something. You're talking about the one that the head of our legal department, Edith Itanovich, goes with all the different lectures,
Yes,
as well as in the schools. So this is not taking place right now but it will start very soon again, because once you can get together 50 or more, we will resume. It has to be also in cooperation with our regional chairpersons. We could not do this on Zoom because it's big, you know, you have to invite them and you don't know who, it's not possible to do it on Zoom. What we are doing this, we'll get to our legal department. We are doing a lot of things on Zoom, but not these gatherings. In the high schools, yes, they are continuing because they are, you know, functioning regularly. So they are continuing to educate and do these kind of special activities. But for the women, hopefully we will resume. I believe hopefully just after the summer, at least in groups of 50, 60, because we are planning, and we had so many that we had to cancel because of the situation.
right.
People are not going out of the house for these kind of things.
Right, but you're right, it does start at an early age, and you have to start with the children and then moving up, so.
Right.
Anyway, do you
שירלי,
want to...
חשוב גם להגיד שיש 175 חולים חדשים שהתגלו היום, והממשלה שוקלת האם באמת להמשיך את הפעילות ומה לעשות בעצם. ואם אנחנו נצטרך להיכנס להסגר עוד הפעם, אנחנו נהיה באמת בבעיה גדולה מאוד.
What Hagit is emphasizing is something that we all hope will not happen, but it's a possibility. Just today, close to 175 new people who you know, made the tests and are sick. So this is an addition, and just for the last 24 hours, and it's quite a lot in Israel, almost 200 in one day. And if it will continue to increase, we are very worried that we'll have to go back, meaning that our daycare centers are finally open. We hope we don't have to close them again. Regarding our technological schools, you know, during the COVID, when it started, we did learning from home, like through computers, and that was very difficult, but it was a big issue. Now they're back in school, under restrictions, but they're back in their schools. If we'll have to, you know, close all our schools, it will have again to be back studying from home. Also our youth villages that we spoke about last time. So Hagit said she's very worried what will happen. Hopefully we will not have to go back to the situation that we were just until like 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Is Canot, are the dormitories still open? I mean, the kids are actually living in the dorms?
Yes.
Uh-huh. How
I'll
has that
tell you
been?
about,
With the social distancing, or has it just been back to trying to be normal? how it was?
Cannot is trying to be normal as much as they can, but it's also under restrictions. It's not easy. They are trying to work also in smaller groups. You know, Cannot and Ayanot went through a very difficult time. And as I explained to you and I wrote to you that just before Pesach, they collected food and they collected a lot of things to send to the families, to the, you know, the families of the students, also to some of their employees. They really did a lot of volunteer work to help and get food to send, and also with your help with the emergency fund that you collected to help some of the families of our students, as well as our employees, and also our caregivers, by the way. This is the main idea that we began this. We had we can't get into all the issues, but we had a lot of problems with many of our caregivers that were on unpaid leave. It was very, very difficult. So Cannot is back now, but it's not easy. And I can tell you another thing regarding the technological schools. There are still quite many, I got this data actually, that in the Arab sector, you know, half of our schools are from the Arab sector. About 30% of the students did not return to school because they are helping their parents, they are working, and they're not back to school. And this is very difficult. Some of them we help while, you know, teaching them in the evening. And our teachers don't get extra pay. They're just doing it voluntarily, trying, you know, to keep the children and not to lose them. And also in the Jewish sector, there are a few hundreds that did not return because they have to help their families to make a living. So this is very difficult. You must understand that AMAT deals mostly in the schools with deprived families. So it's not, it's very, very difficult situation.
I know that you had plans to open a middle school at Cannot. So what's happening with that?
Yes.
No, it's working. There is a middle school.
No, הבנייה של הבית ספר החטיבת ביניים החדשה.
You're talking about the new building. The new building will begin in September, probably.
Yes.
All the plans are made already, all the architectural plans, the permits we got, it took a long time. And I checked it just a few days ago. And Chezi, the director, told me that it probably will start already the actual construction in September. Because we have, yes, we have 7th grade, we have close to 600 students in Cannot. It's wonderful, and many of you were there. It's actually one of the biggest in Israel. And
yes.
it
גם שירלי, התלמידים שזכו במקום הראשון בתחרות המדע של נאסא, מקנות, הוא עדכן אותך אחרי זה?
בוודאי. Diana, I will send you, I just got it today from Chezi. Remember I sent you something about with the girls in Cannot, the video with telling what they did in English, the Ethiopian girls. Now they won a prize, the first prize with the NASA project, which I put it on Facebook, and I also sent it to you in AMAT News. And yesterday actually, I got the great news that they won first prize. I will send you a short video in English and some photos in the next few days, and we are so proud of them. You know, this is something unbelievable, really unbelievable. I have the photos of the children, and I have the photo of what they won. I myself was so excited when I saw it.
Yeah, that's great.
Unbelievable.
I was also reading on your Facebook page about Connect Teen. So I understand that the Cannot students developed this app to help teens who have dropped out of the system by connecting them to activities and support systems. And can you tell us about that? So it's an app that at Cannot, they created it?
They did it together with an organization, Atid. Yes, and they're exactly what they're doing, like what I sent you on the Facebook and on AMAT News, trying to get, you know, to encourage students that are perhaps will drop out or are thinking to drop out, and telling them from their own experience what it's like and how to, you know, to succeed. It's very heartwarming.
Yeah.
שירלי, גם הפתיחה של המוזיאתר בעיינות.
זה את תספרי, אני לא קיבלתי על זה מידע, האמת.
אוקיי, באמת? אוקיי. So in our Ayanot Yaf Center, we have a museum, a new museum that should open in July. I hope so that we have all the delay but we are planning to open in July. And it's a very historical place that take care of all of our organization history. It's talking about Ada Maimon, Ada Fishman Maimon, that was developed the place, and with only you know the history of this place. Maybe we have to talk about the history of this place. שירלי, יצא לכם בעבר לדבר על זה?
אני חשבתי שאמרת, לא שמעתי על זה אני יודעת. Yes, some of you that were with me in Ayanot, we went to the room of Ada Maimon. Ada Maimon was a real pioneer. She actually she started and she was the initiator of the Ayanot Youth Village. And what Hagit is saying is something very unique that will open in September, you said? Actually,
in July.
The Museum of Pioneer Women. The Museum of Pioneer Women in Israel.
Yes, the first one.
The first right.
one, yes. So it's going to be also very interesting. I hope you will come soon to Israel to see the new museum.
I would love to, but...
Your seminarists were in Ayanot. The seminar that you had in November, we visited Ayanot.
Yeah, they did.
Some of the, yeah.
Are
you want to hear about the legal? You want to hear about the legal department? What is happening with our legal bureaus all over the country?
Please.
This is also a very, very important issue. Besides what Hagit told you about the hotline of prevention of violence, which we are doing, in which this phenomena of domestic violence, we have also a open line in our legal department with all our legal bureaus and the women's rights centers. And there was also a big increase of women who call this open line. And the main issues that it deals with, this is something very interesting, and also because of the situation, there was a very high increase in women turning to us regarding workplace, regarding being fired when they were on an unpaid leave, and many of the places took the workers back, but many people had nowhere to go back. And many women who are pregnant were like fired, okay? And you're not allowed to fire a woman when she's pregnant or when she does fertility treatment. So many of the women who turn to us, to our legal department, excuse me, have problems at the work. They are not taken back, they are fired because they are either pregnant or they have to go through fertility treatments. This is one issue. Another issue that many women turn to us is to make new wills, testimony, and to do, a durable power of attorney, because many people who are older are afraid what's going to happen because of this corona, what will happen with them. They are very worried about their lives. So we get a lot of women turning to us regarding this issue. In addition, of course, a lot of family-related issues, marriage and divorce, child custody, a lot of fighting between parents with the child custody, especially at this time. So, Na'amat is really at the forefront, okay? This time, Na'amat is really one of the main organizations in Israel that have to deal with all the aspects of the problems, with children, with youth, with women, with families, with older women, with younger women, with women at the workplace. So when we say that we give services to about 40,000 families in Israel, now it's even more because the increase of women and men and families that are turning to us is really a very large and a huge increase. This is the situation.
So you have a legal team that gets, they funnel the phone calls to the lawyers?
Sure. Yeah. We have the lawyers on the open line on labor issues. Is a lawyer answers it, and she gives on the spot. She gives the advice, and many also are coming to our legal bureaus. So they were closed most of them were closed during the first 2 months, but now when they are partially open, then women are coming to us as well and meeting one-on-one with social distance, the lawyers. Yes.
So when you say partially open, did they make an appointment so they know that there's only one or two,
Yes, they have
one
to
at a
make an
time?
appointment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now they can, yeah. The
Yeah.
regulation gives them the opportunity to do it.
And for the hotline you were talking about, the new hotline for abuse, is it social workers that answer the phone?
Yes, of course.
And they just give
Our
their
social workers. Social workers are getting the advice. If there is a high risk, they call the police, or they getting the women out of the house to the shelter. They're really doing work that saves lives.
Are there other shelters that might be open now? If ours are closed, are there other shelters in the country that you could?
All the shelters in Israel are fully booked.
They are full. So what do you do with women who need to get out of their home? Where do they go? Where do you send them?
They stay. It's dangerous. They have to stay at home. It's really dangerous for them.
Yes.
For them and for children.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
We know that AMAT Israel is having their 100th anniversary coming up next year.
Yeah.
Do you have
Coming
plans?
up.
Are there plans that you have?
Because of the coronavirus, we didn't have the chance to sit and think, but we are thinking about lots of events to promote the 100 years about and talk about the wonderful women in our movements, also in the pioneer movements and in Israel that did a lot of history. We want everyone to know them.
Yes.
Diana, I would like to say something about the scholarship project with many of you women are involved. And I want to also, on behalf, first of all, of all of us, and on behalf of all the students and the PhD recipients, thank you so much for your efforts in this unique project. It's one of our flagships, and these days, we just got so many, we have the scholarships and we have the research grants. So every year, usually in July, we have the big ceremony. This year, hopefully, we'll be able to have the ceremony in September. And we grant close to 200 scholarships in a bachelor and master degree with preference in science field. And in addition, as you know, we give every year 4 research grants in gender studies for PhD, for doctor, right? PhD, 4 in gender studies and 4 in a scientific field. This year, it's brain. It's a study of the brain. And you can't believe what kind of women are coming to NAMAT from the Weizmann Institute, from universities all over Israel. And they just handed in these days a big, all their PhD, all the research with all the recommendation. We have about 40 PhD, 35 actually, PhD students who are turning to us to get the grant, and about 30 in gender studies. And we have the committee, the professional committee, with Professor Shosharad. Many of you have met her, and we will start checking and going over everything, and Hagit will be, and we'll see all the research grants regarding the gender studies. And hopefully in September, we'll be able really to give all these scholarships. And this is really thanks to NAMAT USA, because most of the funding we give every year about 400,000 shekels, which is over $100,000, about 120,000 American dollars. And you have to know that this time it's even more important for the students, for the bachelor and master degree, it's a big help. And for the PhD students, we are so proud of it. And this is really one of the great projects. And it's really thanks to you and so much appreciation for keeping up this project.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing about the recipients and getting videos and maybe meeting some of them on Zoom at some point. So Here's another
Great.
question. I know that the World Zionist Congress meets once a year, and there's a day devoted to AMAT International, normally in the fall. What are the plans for this year? I think it was.
Okay,
Okay.
this year it's not just the council. This year the Congress, the Zionist Congress is planned. It's every 5 years, and the dates of the Zionist Congress are at the end of October. But just these weeks, this week or perhaps next week, actually it will be already next week, a final decision will be taken if it really will be held like it's planned. It's big problem because we do want to do it at the end of October, but we can't be sure. I'm in contact, of course, with Masha Lubelski, who's our representative at the executive of the WZO. Just this morning I spoke to her. And I was in a meeting last week by Zoom with the presidium of the WZO, and they don't know as of now if it will be held. Hopefully, I want to be optimistic that by the end of October, it will be held in Israel. It's once every 5 years. It's much larger than just the Zionist Council. And then we will invite a delegation from AMAT USA, of course, Jen, the president, and we'll be in touch regarding, the size of the delegation. Hopefully, yes. And then we will have, like every year, the AMAT International, 2 days before, also a tour, also a meeting. Hagit, of course, will be involved, and also our regional chairpersons if it will be the big issue, like every 5 years. I really hope, but I will be able to let you know within the next couple of weeks.
Great. And we have one more question before we open it up to other questions. So as you know, and I'm sure you've heard, that there's been protests and riots all over the United States in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. Racism is rampant in the country. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. So we're just wondering, we know that there's been marches and protests all around the world. And just wondering what's been going on in Israel, if you've had the same, any kind of protests.
We have protests.
We've protested mostly about our economical situation and for domestic violence and violence by itself as a topic. What we didn't have a protest against what happened in the United States, but we are very worried about it because we understand that the racism is getting up and up, and we are very worried about all the Jewish communities in the US.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things happening at synagogues across the country and marches with, Jews have long suffered against anti-Semitism and against racism forever. So.
No, but the situation now in the States is like Hagit said, we really worry about it. And this is also something that the World Zionist Organization spoke about. And I also informed them of what you are doing. I spoke to Canada about it. And I heard what's going on in Los Angeles and what is going on in New York. And it's something that I don't think has happened in the States for a long, long time. We are very much concerned. And we really hope that things will calm down. Let us know about it. How do you feel about it? What's the situation as of now? Share with us.
What I'm familiar with is what's going on in Los Angeles and in other synagogues around the country. Besides there being Zoom bombs in various synagogue meetings, there has been defacing of property. I can open up, people can mention what's been going on. I know that there was the Simon Wiesenthal Center, they had a march, and they were, joined by other kinds of organizations. And I think there's been marches around the country. So it's not good. It's not a good time for anybody.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we can open it up right now. I want to introduce Marcy McKenzie, who's our office administrator and everything else. And she can tell some of the questions that have been going on in the chat box. Looks like there's quite a few things.
Hi. I think you might have already addressed this. If any centers closed due to the breakout after they opened up, and is the government doing anything special? is the government doing any special projects to help those who are out of work?
Oh, and this is a very good question. They're doing an effort, but it's not enough. We have a lot of problems in Israel with working places, a lot of places that fired people, their employees, because of the situation and because we didn't get back to our full work. So it's not enough. They give something, but it's not enough.
Okay. And you also gave an update on the daycare centers. Anything in particular for the multi-purpose daycare centers? You have a lot longer hours there.
Yes, I can tell you about that. I wanted to add, hello? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I think somebody accidentally started a screen share.
Yeah. Okay, but you can hear me. Diana, it's okay?
Yeah.
I don't know, working on it.
Okay.
Doris, you're screen sharing.
And we're back. It's okay.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Okay, we are back.
Thank you for reminding, because I was going to relate to the multi-purpose daycare centers. Just for those of you that, to clear for all of us, multi-purpose daycare centers for children at risk, okay? We have about 2,000 children in our daycare centers, 23 daycare centers that are open from 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening. Okay, this is actually really a lifesaver for these families, for the children. They come in the morning, and many of them stay till 7 o'clock in the evening, and really children at risk, okay? They come through the welfare, and it's not only for the children, it's also for the parents, that many of them come in afternoon hours to get special treatment and therapy together with their children, how to be better parents, how to relate. There are a lot of problems. And I was in touch just the last week, and I will send you stories, Diana, with social workers in our multi-purpose centers. And just in front of me, I just got it a few days ago, and I didn't get a chance yet to translate and to send it to you. But just to give you an example of a multi-purpose center that is in Kiryat Bialik, near Haifa. 2 children in the daycare center of Naamat. One is 3 years old, and the other is 1.5 years. And it's a single parent. The mother is taking care of them. A lot of difficulties because of the corona. She's unemployed now. She can barely treat the children. Very, very difficult. She's very stressed. The children have problems. The 3-year-old started, very hard for her to talk all of a sudden. And she wets in bed, all kind of really very difficult problems that happen just now. Even though this case, it's so difficult that they are considering, perhaps the mother said to the welfare authorities and to Naamat that she cannot anymore take care of the children. And now they're checking with her parents, because her parents, the grandmother and grandfather, are fine. And most probably what will be, at least for this time, that they will really take custody of the 2 children. So this is just to give you one idea of so many stories that we have. And the multi-purpose centers are really, it's a lifesaver for these children. And we have also a lot of success stories. So we have to be optimistic, because we help them so much, the families and the children. And most of them do overcome the problems and really, have a much better future.
Selma Ruffman is raising her hand, so I thought we'd call on her next to ask a question.
Actually, I think you've answered a lot of the questions, but I was reading in the chat. First of all, it's good to see you, Shirley. And I said to everyone that it was really fortuitous that we held our convention last year, not this coming October, because it would have been very disappointing if we were in the state of uncertainty at this time. And so, of course, we want to thank you for all you did for us last year to make that possible. Shirley, we're all waiting to return to Israel. That's the truth. And as of this time, I've heard conflicting stories that you can get air flights. Planes have landed and some of the people have been allowed to go into quarantine for 2 weeks and stay. I actually have heard of people being turned away and had to come back. But I'm curious, this is a question Susan Miller asked, are hairdressers reopening or things returning to normal that were once in place there? And when I've been listening to Israel music and all, I'm hearing about the Gal Sheni, the second wave that can come, and how is that affecting anything, or is it looming on the horizon at this point or not? So that's a lot of things I asked about. I want to know if things are back to normal on the streets, and it will help us to know when you think we could even get back there.
Hagit, את רוצה לענות? את רוצה להתחיל?
Dear Selma, it's so good to see you again, and I'm really glad I have the opportunity to meet you last year in Israel.
Me too.
So it's we really don't know what's going on. As Shirley said, we have just today 175 new people that got the coronavirus just today. So the government is very, very concerned. And if it's going on like that, so we will probably have a new restrictions and a new regulation from the health minister. So we still don't know. We really want to get on and to get back to our normal lives. It really depends on the new sick people that's going on. Our prime minister said that, Bibi Netanyahu said that if it will go like that, and every day we will get 100 people, new people that are sick, we will have to close again everything, the education, schools, we will get back to and stay at home.
I will answer about these restrictions that you asked, and I see another question. First of all, regarding masks, yes, you're supposed to, you have to wear masks on the streets. If not, for everyone, you can get a fine, I mean a fee from the police if you don't. The hairdressers are open, but it's, you're not allowed to have many in one place, and you have to have a mask all the time. It used to be only takeaway. Right now, restaurants partly are open, and they put, not so close to one another. Tel Aviv is a little bit different, I might say, yeah. And it will say, right? Sometimes we say Tel Aviv is another country, but it's not good because the Tel Aviv's population have to know that everybody is in the same problem. So, but some restaurants take care more and some less, and this is not right, but this is the real situation. But I would say people, yes, if you go into a store, if you buy, yes, you are aware, you put on a mask and there's alcohol gel, for your hands, when you go in, when you go out, even in AMAT, okay, in AMAT headquarters, some of our meetings are on Zoom. Some of our, big meetings are on Zoom. When we sit next to each other, we don't sit very close. We don't hug. Israelis like to hug. They're warm people, and we don't hug. This is something most difficult for Israelis. It's not normal times, and people are worried, and people are concerned. And also, especially, for the elderly. I have an older mother. I'm worried. And Hagit has her mother. And, yes, it's not normal. It's unpredictable. This is why it's very difficult.
Are businesses taking the temperature of their employees?
Yes, also, yes, everybody.
Yes, every day.
Also for us, in AMAT, also in AMAT, you go into the building, your temperature is being taken. And also many of the restaurants, many places, yes.
The stores too, I hear, when you walk in.
They have to, they don't always do it, but yes.
Right, they should, right.
They should, yeah.
Marcy, are there any other questions that you see in the chat?
Well, Selma also requested, could we get a copy of the video that you showed on?
Yes,
the-
I'll give it.
Of course, I didn't send it in AMAT News because I want it to be a surprise. You will get it. You will get it. It will be on Facebook tomorrow. And then I will send in AMAT News to everybody and share it. And I will explain about the campaign. We are very proud of it, but let's hope that it will, help. This is most important.
Yes.
You spoke of a new museum. Where is this and when will it open?
In
It's in the
Ayanot.
central of Israel. Yes, central of Israel, Ayanot Yaf Center, and it will be opened in July.
Okay. Jackie from Pittsburgh asked, can we access the topics for the gender studies and the science PhD programs?
I didn't get the question.
Can we access the topics for the gender studies and the science PhD program?
I will, after we get and we choose our recipients, as I do every year, I will send you a summary of each one and about, her life. And like I do every year, you will get all the information. And like we did in your convention, I will also try to get one of them by Zoom to meet with you. Remember, you met Michal Shevach in your convention. I think it was one of the highlights. I'm in contact with her all the time, and we'll have new ones. And maybe Hagit said, we spoke that maybe for the 100th anniversary of Naamat, we will do some kind of a special gathering with our PhD recipients from all through the years. But let's hope things will be back to normal. We'll be able to start planning these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, a question from Jane Blitz. She says, I know that there has been racism and prejudice against the Ethiopian community. Naamat does have a number of Ethiopian students. Has there been any talk of concern by the older students in our high schools?
יש לנו גם מטפלות כאלה, זה היה שנה שעברה. שנה שעברה הייתה, את זוכרת את המצעד של האתיופים, והשנה לא.
לא.
כן. זה לא
דברים
אחרים מדאיגים
אנחנו
אותנו
שוויונים
כרגע.
לכולם.
נכון.
This was last year. And we treat all our students with love and care, Ethiopian, not Ethiopian. We call them, it's Israel. We always say in Israel right now, should not be called Ethiopian. They should be called Israelis from Ethiopian origin, like we have Israelis from Soviet Union origin. So they're all like all our sons and all our daughters. And there hasn't been lately, especially something like that. Thank God in Israel, racism is not something that is like now in the States. We have other kind of problems, and which are quite difficult as they are, yes. But there is a rise in besides violence, Hagit, this I heard of today, a lot of like thieves, burglary.
Yeah, crime is on the rise.
Yes.
Crime rate will increase, and this is something also very scary.
Is there any looting going on? Because that's what we have here, all the looting. Is it?
What do you mean by looting?
Looting, people going into stores, breaking in and stealing.
No.
Not looting.
Not yet, and I hope we don't have it.
Okay, I just see one last question from Jackie in Pittsburgh. When is the 100th gathering rescheduled for?
Okay, because of this situation, we still don't know. We want to do a lot of events, but it's concerning gathering together. So we are waiting for the government to tell us what's going on so we can plan. But what was the original, we decided to start from December, from the end of December, and do all the ceremonies throughout the year. Of course, we will let you know what we are going to do. If it's not going like that, maybe we will have a Zoom party, Zoom together.
Diana, is Gail, Susan Isaac is with us, and Gail Simpson, I heard, where is Susan?
She's there.
Susan Isaac is with us?
Yeah, she was.
You saw her.
Okay. How are you, all of you? Are you all feeling well? Are you all safe? You're all okay? Families?
Can you hear me?
Yes, there
Hi,
she is.
Susan.
Isaac.
Hi, Shirley. Hi,
How
Hagit.
are you?
Hi,
Nice
how are
to see
you?
you.
Well, I do have
Good
a
to
few
see.
questions. Is it okay to ask?
Sure.
Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to know those COVID cases that were diagnosed today. Do you know the age group of the cases? Is it across the board
No.
or is it older people?
I don't know
Oh my
exactly, but I can
God.
tell you that many more tests are done every day, and there are also some students because they're checking in schools. But most of the cases all through the time were older people. But it's not only, it's not like, I don't know the exact percentage, it's more older people, but still there are also some students and some, all ages, but mostly are older. Yes, I believe, right?
Another thing,
שירלי, 144 מוסדות חינוך נסגרו.
וואו,
אפשר להגיד.
זה אפשר בהחלט. You know,
כן, עכשיו קיבלתי הודעה.
144 schools were closed or shut down because of a teacher, a librarian. My niece was at home. She's 9 years old. So she was at home 2 weeks because her librarian, had the virus. So they closed the whole school. See?
Okay, Shirley, you know what we're doing in the United States now? I've ordered masks with the NAMAT logo and the website, and I ordered 50 masks. I think it might be a good idea to do that in Israel as well.
We have masks with NAMAT logo. I showed it last time when we had the Zoom. Actually, I might have it in my bag, but we have with the logo of NAMAT that we gave our caregivers.
Oh, good. I didn't know you did that. So we're waiting to get our shipment of those masks. So we'll do some PR.
Is that going to be online, Susan?
Is what going to be online?
The masks with the NAMAT logo.
Yeah, we have them. Actually, some of the areas have contacted me and said that they want some. I ordered 250, and I've sold to I have orders from the areas for about 75 different masks that will sell at our cost so that they can resell to their members for about $5. They're costing us about $3.
Angie, are there any ordered for our region?
Well, yeah. Susan, we'll talk to you later about that.
Oh, okay, very good.
I'd like to say something.
Esther, hi.
Hi. I think, regarding COVID, I think our situation is pretty similar. We've all been in our homes, now starting to come out a little bit to see whether the numbers go up. But I'd like to share also about what's going on with the protests. The looting was just a small group. The protesters are very peaceful. I'm in Los Angeles. I watch the news. I see protesters across the country. Unfortunately, there is anti-Semitism, and at the time of the looting, there was a lot of vandalism on synagogues, but I think that has been handled. I see Jewish leaders joining in with these protests because it's a situation that needs to be fixed, our problem with racism. And the Jews have always been at the forefront of civil rights, civil liberties. I think on the most part, we are safe. And we're plugging along just like you guys. I'm disappointed to hear that the numbers went up a little bit for you when you opened up. The
same thing's happening here in the States.
Thank you for this meeting. I appreciate learning everything that's going on there. Thank you so much for both of you.
I really would like to ask a question, Diana.
Yes.
Hi, this is Tal.
Hi, Tal.
I sent I sent the question by mistake to you instead of Shirley, but I don't know if everybody is aware, but next month is going to be the annexation by Israel of part of the West Bank, and which is a big issue in Israel, and there was a lot of protests. I was wondering if you predict any impact on AMAT facilities not facilities like the daycare centers and all that, but
No.
mainly in the Arab sections and Arab towns where we have Arab women who are, after all, they're sisters. I don't know if there is going to be any, but I just was wondering if this is on your mind in terms of NAMAT, regarding to NAMAT.
אוקיי, חגית, את רוצה שאני אענה מה שאני חושבת?
כן,
אוקיי.
כן.
First of all, I want to tell you, Tal, thanks. First of all, hi, great
Hi.
to see you.
Okay.
Look, the annexation, it's a big issue now in Israel. We're not sure it's really going to happen like it said. Like, okay, there is also, you know, politics is politics. It's not for sure that it will be like it said, the annexation. I think right now Trump is busy with something else, and our prime minister is also busy with something else. There are also a lot of politics and PR. Yeah. But so I'm not sure it's really going to happen. It's not easy, and it is a problem. But I believe, and Hagit will relate to that it will not make an influence on AMAT. All our caregivers are from, you know, from they're Israeli citizens, okay? Make a separation. Some of the American women don't, you know, the annexation we're talking about in the West Bank or in all the NAMAT services, we do not have it we don't have the NAMAT daycare centers or schools in the West Bank or in Ariel or you know, in the far places where there are and the annexation takes place. I don't think there's going to be tension. There's going to be tension in Israel, but it will not reflect necessarily our employees. That's what I believe and I hope.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's hope so.
If you think
I hope
something
so. I really agree with you. Thank you. Thank you, Tan.
Thank you.
So are there any more questions? If not, then I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. And Shirli and Hagit, I'd love to set up another meeting with you. We'll be in touch about that for the next step.
Diana, I would really like to thank you, Diana, for gathering all of us. It's like a small world, you know, with the tech that provide us the opportunity to meet together. And I would like to thank you, Jane, for everything, all of your support. And Shirley, I know Shirley is taking care of all of you every day, every hour. And I would like to thank every one of you. We couldn't do it without your support. I really appreciate all of your support in every day, but especially in this difficult period that we are going through. And I would like to thank you and hope you will take care for you and your family and wish you a lot of health and good life. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really nice to see everybody. Be safe, be healthy.
Keep well and healthy. Take
Amen. Thank you. Nice seeing you, Shirley and Hagit.
It's great
nice
to
see
see
you.
you.
So good. Thank you very much.
Everyone should be well.
Hey,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's great to see everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Shirley.
Great
Bye,
to see you.
Well.